Welcome back. Businesses, universities, and federal agencies have rolled back on their offices for diversity, equity, and inclusion. But right here, after 3 previous attempts to have a Black History Museum since the 2000s, 2 men saw a need for representation in the San Antonio Black community. Sitting with the founders, KENS 5's Earl Stoudemire explains how San Antonio African American Community Archive and Museum was created and how it's moving into a new era.
Black history is embedded in the broad context of San Antonio history.
It was 5 years before San Antonio's tricentennial celebration when Everett Fly noticed something.
There had been so little work done on African American history.
In the historical moments mentioned and the cultural contributions highlighted, something was missing.
I kept listening for statements that would include African American history, and there were none.
He knew the stories existed, but no one was sharing them.
There was a magazine, Texas Highways magazine. It said Celebrating San Antonio. It has a timeline you can see from 1500 to 2015 of the history of San Antonio.
Turning the pages,
Hispanic and Mexican people, German, European settlers.
Fly read 4 mentions of Black people on a timeline of 500 years.
3 of the 4 just say that they were slaves, and the 4th one says that there was an African American player, George Gervin, on the San Antonio Spurs. So I was not only personally insulted, but broadly insulted. This absolutely had to be corrected.
Fly did some research and took that info to George Frederick, a San Antonio native and director of the local nonprofit Hope House Ministries. To piece together parts of history, the two needed a place to work.
This was a funeral home, Southern Mortuary, and it had turned into a crack house. It has been totally demolished.
430 North Cherry Street once belonged to the Sutton family. The then prominent local family hosted some even more prominent figures like Booker T. Washington, Mary McLeod Bethune, and
George Washington Carver coming to San Antonio. Never heard it in my life. And so he has been on this property.
Among Fly's discoveries, the sound of Ellis Griffin, a San Antonian musician pictured on his farm in North Bexar County.
He's got a suit on. I mean, he's dressed to the nines. What is he doing with this fiddle? And so I asked the family, and they said he played blues on that fiddle.
This treasure trove of stories had to be shared with some help from Dr. Bill Ferris at UNC Chapel Hill.
Dr. Ferris helped B.B. King set up his museum before he died, before B.B. King died.
Through Ferris and his colleague, Dr. Brian Gimza, the idea of a San Antonio African American archive was born.
Dr. Gimza says, you've got something here. It's worth saving.
After years of pushing for funding, the San Antonio African American Community Archive and Museum opened its doors in the summer of 2017.
People showed up. The community people were inspired.
In 2021, SAAACAM moved to its temporary location at the historic La Villita. By the end of 2026, the historic Crest Building will house SAAACAM's new cultural center, the same spot as one of the first desegregation movements in the city.
I'm just thrilled that the legacy of African descendants in the region is going to be sustained.
SAAACAM has been doing that now for the past 7 years. Its mission to collect, preserve, and share Black history will never change.
Too much has already been erased. Too much has already been marginalized and ignored. And what I've learned is how important and how significant this history is, not just to the Black community, but to all of us.
And it will continue to document the history being written today. Earl Stoudemire, KENS 5.